time, remove your hats for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Breamsey?
Yes.
Ms. Irby?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Sawatsky?
Yes.
We have 5 board members present and 2 members absent.
Citizens participation. Welcome to the Board of Education meeting. The board meets and conducts school business in public. The public is invited to watch and listen to the board deliberate and vote on the agenda items scheduled for action and discussion. Although the board meets in public, this is not a meeting for the public to participate. It is a meeting for the members of the board to conduct business. If there are any citizens in the audience who wish to be recognized by the board for this purpose of making a statement or asking a question, this is the appropriate place on the agenda. Citizens should fill out a public input card and give it to the board president prior to the start of the meeting. Please step to the podium, state your name, and proceed with your statement. Per board policy, section C, policy number 1370, each person will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. No response will be given at this time. This is not a time for making complaints. All employee complaints should be referred to the administration in writing. So again, there's no participation from the board to the public. This is for the board to meet and the board to discuss amongst themselves. Citizen participation, start. Brandon Sweeney.
Thank you.
So tonight I've handed every board member a document that's based totally on publicly available records. I'm going to ask that these copies are collected by me right after this. Not that there's anything secret about them, but my intent is not to shame anyone or turn this into a contest. The point is not the numbers, the point is the mindset. My purpose tonight is to challenge the mindset routinely being modeled by Ms. Morales and Ms. Castillo, separating people into categories like non-resident versus resident, and then using those labels to imply that some voices carry more legitimacy than others. Morales and Castillo have shared that mindset openly in these meetings and on social media. Once you start implying that some people's voices are more legitimate than others, the next question becomes, what makes someone more legitimate? A non-resident can have students they care about and love. They can still have family here. They can still volunteer, donate, attend events, employ our graduates, and invest time and resources into this community. Leadership isn't just what you decide, it's what you model. Now imagine if teachers had that mindset. Imagine if in-district students got Chromebooks, but school of choice students only got paper and pencil. Imagine if teachers treated students differently based upon what language they speak, how much money they have, or whether their parents voted. We meet them with the same standards, the same care, and the same respect. So when the president and secretary start sorting speakers into real community members and others, it undermines the values this institution stands for. Are you from here? Are you on the right list? Do you have the right to be here? That kind of mindset has a very long history in this country. It's the mindset that creates different lines for different people, where some folks walk right in and others have to answer questions first. Once you start using residency or voter status to sort people's legitimacy, the only thing left separating a resident from a non-resident is money. So here's a few rhetorical questions. Should wealthier board members get more votes? Should they get to speak longer? Should their opinions carry more weight? My ask is straightforward. In public education, we are supposed to model equity. Equal dignity, equal process, and equal respect. Ms. Castillo, Ms. Morales, please start modeling these qualities. Thank you.
Miles Franklin. No, Miles.
Thank you.
No. Miles Franklin, no, going once, going twice. No Miles? Okay. Item number 4 on the agenda. Any motions for agenda adjustments? Hearing none. Item number 5. No board recognition at this time listed. Item number 6. Liberty Park and Miracle Field Awareness. Mr. Wilton.
Thank you. The board received the documentation in your packet on Friday. This included the lease agreement that was signed many, many years ago. It commenced on January 1st of 2006 as a 20-year period that ends on December 31st of this year, 2026. The totality of the lease is 99 years. Either party can get out of the lease after the first 20 years. So that 20 years ends on December 31st, 11 months from now, or a little less. This park that we're talking about is the space across the street from Atkins and adjacent to Thomas White Elementary. That was where they created the Miracle Field. And in the creation of that, there was funds used from the Department of Natural Resources that carry with it an expectation that that field and that space be maintained for a specified number of years. I don't have that document because we didn't actually sign that agreement with the Department of Natural Resources, the township did. So the documentation that we have is simply the lease that you have in front of you. To our knowledge, and I requested from Chris that we get their documentation because the Department of Natural Resources holds pretty close to that. Anybody that's been around knows if you're dealing with the Department of Environmental Quality or the Department of Natural Resources, they aren't real flexible with their requirements and what they allow you to do. But having that knowledge is important for us because if the township has decided, which it is documented, that they are no longer planning to care for or deal with that section of property that they leased from the school district. It would be a shame for us as a school district to allow that to just fall into disrepair. We also have a duty to our community to take care of this. We have a duty to our students and our broader community in the special needs area of things to take care of this. And so I bring this to the board. There are ideas that maybe you have, maybe the community has ideas, and I would encourage people to share those with this school board. One way or another, that land, those fields, that grass is going to be there tomorrow. It'll be there the next day. What you guys as a school board and the vision that you have for that property decide is what will end up becoming what people see when they will drive down Southfield and what kids see when they walk out of the schools. So I bring this forward to you today. It's obviously freezing cold. We're not mowing the grass right now. We're not going to have baseball games or softball games right now. But the reality is that it's going to warm up pretty soon. And that has to be cared for. It would be shameful for us to not care for it. So I'll throw out a little bit of number sense. The township talked about it costing tens of thousands of dollars just to mow the property. Probably not far off, okay? But that isn't just what you do, is only mow it. You have to take care of the fence lines because it looks like garbage when the grass grows up through the fence. These are baseball fields. So if they're not edged properly, that doesn't look good. And if they aren't going to be used as baseball fields, I encourage us to think about what would we do with that property and what might we do with that property. And I turn that over to the board to discuss, because your ideas are ones that will provide the vision for that in the future. And hopefully for the community, we get ideas as well. It has incredible value, and I am nearly 100% certain we can't just let it go. The DNR, the Department of Environmental Quality, is not going to be okay with that. So I open it up to the board to ask questions, to engage in discussion and share your ideas and thoughts about what we should be planning in the near future for Liberty Park and Miracle Field.
So to refresh the board's memory, the Chris that Mark is referring to is the Bridgeport manager.
Yes.
And last summer, we had met with them, and we had a plan set to get the ISD involved. Has that ever panned out? Is there anything that they have stated or put in any information on their end because of the Miracle Field, and due to the fact that the Millet Learning, it ends right there? So anything in regards to the ISD so far, or that still needs to be taken care of?
I think you're asking me if anything has gone on with the ISD. The ISD is more than happy to take anything for free. I'm going to tell you that right now. That discussion has occurred. I would ask the community and this board, do you want to give property away? that's your decision to make as a
They weren't
school
gonna
board.
purchase, there was no talk of any purchasing.
I've not heard that, no ma'am.
Okay.
I think that would be precluded by an offer to sell it if you had, if that was something you were expecting out of the ISD was to buy it. But the conversation simply is, that would be, we'll have it, we'll take it. And I don't actually think that is allowable in the contract with the DEQ either.
We would
That
need that,
property
we
is
would need
ours.
that in writing, yeah. So then let's go back to when we met with them, the manager and the supervisor last summer, and we threw some.
It was last fall.
Last fall.
Be
And
clear
let's-
on that.
Anything that we discussed, bringing in the ISD, there was mention of selling pieces off depending where it was. Are we able to get, to go back on that to share with the whole board in regards to the different areas, or that something needs to be done? I know you wanted to get, was it a lawyer or someone to go through to assess and,
I think that would be at the board's privilege and board's interest of whether you want to pay lawyers for all of that. I'm not in a position at this time to activate lawyers on behalf of the board. That property in and of itself, if that's what the board would like, is to figure out how to piece it out. I don't know if you can do that because it was a lump agreement with the Department of Natural Resources. But that's something you guys definitely need to be very clear on, a directive. Okay, let's get lawyers involved. It costs money. It does, none of this is free to analyze this, and I'm cautious in that because
right?
I've got 3 questions. I don't expect you to have the answer, but I think we need them in order to have an intelligent conversation. We need to understand the DNR's requirements before we can even carry on any kind of logical explanation, in my opinion. And who holds the liability associated with that? It would seem the township, because I do not remember the district being a party to the decision to have DNR funding or even having that facility built on the property.
that is correct.
So even though we may not hold a lease, the township would still hold the liability associated with that facility, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we need to understand all of the metrics associated with that property before we can have an intelligent conversation. I would hold that we need that information in order to understand what it is that we're actually talking about.
Since nothing can be done to the end of the year of 2026, either way, the lease ends December 31st. Is there any other timeline?
The lease doesn't end on December 31st. The lease would have to be terminated by one or other party. That hasn't been requested in writing by us, and I haven't gotten anything from the township that says we are requesting to terminate the lease. I don't have that.
That brings up another question, and that is what's the exposure if the lease is in fact terminated by the township, right? What you're saying is it's not a mutually agreed upon situation. One of the other parties can unilaterally cancel the agreement.
Yes, after December 31st, 2026.
Yes.
Legally, either party can, without reason or cause, deliver written notice of termination to the lease. So after that time, that can be written in stone.
Okay. I don't think we want to wait very long on
We
this to
have to
understand
be-
those parameters, though.
Yeah, we have to be conscious of what that puts on the district financially, our responsibility, and where does that leave things with the Department of Natural Resources in the Miracle Field?
I believe that's a major issue because if we took a look at the water park that the city of Saginaw put up and then demolished, they were then asked for a refund by the DNR, and that's why they put up the skating park. So This is not something that could be taken lightly, in my opinion. In fact, actually, the person who had that diamond built explained to me what happened to the city of Saginaw at that time back in 2011, so I'm glad I'm here to at least say we need to do some study on that.
Just so I'm clear, the town, or the school district owns the property, but the township leases it from the school.
Yeah, we own the property, we leased it for 99 years
To the county.
to the township. And then during that lease, there was an agreement made with the Department of Natural Resources to funding to build Miracle Field, the pavilion, I forget, there's a name for that pavilion, Independence Pavilion, or there's something, the name for it.
You mean the Bicentennial Hall?
Bicentennial Hall.
The hall, not the pavilion, though.
Yeah,
Two separate.
the hall, right by Thomas White
Yeah,
there, that
Bicentennial.
part, all of that stuff was done under the township with their lease. And so what all of that entails, we are not privy to because we didn't engage in it. But I think it's a incredibly useful piece of land.
No doubt, but we need to understand the liability associated with assuming it as well.
Mhm. So am I hearing get legal involved?
I don't know that we need legal, we just need to understand from the township what the terms and conditions were with the DNR associated with that property, or that project, I guess.
Okay, I've reached out and
Okay.
I'm awaiting that information. Everything that we have, you have in front of you though, just so you're aware from the school district side of things, everything that we have in terms of that property is sitting in front of you.
All righty. Thank you, Mark. Any other questions for Mark on that information? Okay. All right, item number 7, sinking fund and operational fund discussion. Mark?
The sinking fund and operational millages, those are 2 millages. They expire in 2026. There's election dates coming up, and the election dates come with due dates in advance of that. And so there are 2 possible election dates to meet in 2026. The first would be August 4th, and the second would be the November 3rd statewide general election. There are some things that happen if you were to go down a pathway for August 4th, which make it very difficult to put this onto an August ballot. And that is in the letter that you received from Troon Law. Our friends there, and Christopher Lamarino, very good friend of mine. That August election is probably not a realistic time frame because we don't have the value, the values, the taxable values of the homes early enough to make some decisions on what the millage would be for. A straight renewal, a zero cost renewal is there. It is short of the 18 mills for operating. It's short by a little bit, about $39,000 a year. That pays for a lot, but it's short. So in order to get that $39,000 a year, the board would have to frame this as a increase. So that is outlined in this letter from Christopher. It's not a requirement, but it is something to pay attention to. We're levying 17.7470 mills, not 18 mills. The sinking fund, we're levying 2.9569 mils, not 3, so there's a gap in there. The sinking fund can also be used for student transportation vehicles and maintenance vehicles now, but you have to write it into the sinking fund, which it wasn't allowable back when we did the sinking fund prior to my arrival here. That was 2017. So the point in bringing this to the board is, the board has a decision for both of these millages. We've got to be able to say what these things are going to be used for. What are these tax dollars going to be used for? The people in the public are going to want to know. I'd like to say for the prior sinking millage, or the sinking fund millage, promises made, promises kept. Some people held us accountable to that, and we took care of the tennis courts and the roofs and everything that we did around this district. We took care of it because that was promises that were made. We kept those promises, and we've taken care of the schools in that. Collectively, please be aware that collectively, these are approximately $3.6 million a year in funding. I'll say that again, $3.6 million in funding. If we took $3.6 million in funding out of the budget, Patty's already getting ill, I can tell. That's going to be hard to fill that gap. So this is a really important time for us. Coming up with a plan and developing that plan and getting it approved by the Department of Ed and the Department of Treasury is absolutely key. And as I outlined in my email to you, timelines and dates and those key things are coming up quick. Before we know it, it will be June, and we will be acting on this. We will have to act on this no later than late July. And I think that cannot be understated. It's not something to pause out there. I also explained to you that developing this and then selling it to the public, to our constituents, is important. It's February. The plan needs to be developed, fleshed out, and we need to be talking to our community about this. And I have grave concerns, as do many people out there, about who develops this and who's actually going to be here to implement this in November. And I think that's important for this board, even though we're short 2 people, to be very considerate of. This is the school board's plan for $3.6 million year over year. Hopefully you've had a chance to read Christopher's explanation in this letter, and I would entertain any questions that you might have in relation to the sinking fund or operational millage and timeline.
With two of the members missing, as you stated, Mark, would there be any objection for the board members present in regards to forming a committee of 3 to work with the superintendent and whoever else is needed in regards to, the lawyers or whoever else is needed at this time throughout this entire thing? To work with 3 board members, or I can actually do this after the meeting and take a poll and consensus, or Mark, you could have them contact you. Once you got 3 or 4, then we can discuss which 3 could work with you on that. Is there any objection to that?
Very few people contact me though, Amy, so I'm hesitant about saying, sure, people will contact me. I don't really have board members reaching out, so
Well, that was,
that would be good for,
we're saying, is there any objection, board members, is there any objection to that, of us creating a committee specifically for the operational fund and the sinking fund?
I have none.
None? Antonia? You don't have anything either? All right, so we'll work with the entire board, hopefully sooner than later, and then go from there.
I thought you were going to appoint a committee. I thought that was the question.
Well, with the ones missing, no, I said we would I'll send out to do a poll and see who is interested in that, being that we have 2 members absent. We don't want the exact same. If someone here would like to be on it, speak now. We can add you. We can add at least 1 or 2 now and then give the other 2 a chance as well. But honestly, we should give the whole board, we'll do a poll for the whole board. So is there any objection to doing the whole board to discuss with the whole board to create a committee?
No, all I'd ask is we make sure we do whatever it is in the open session so that everybody's aware of what's been going on.
Okay. There's no objection to discussing with the full board.
Amy, can you set a date so that I have a lot of communication going on with Christopher at Troon Lamarino. And he's asking me about dates moving forward. So if we're gonna poll the board, can I get like a hard date, like, Mark, we're gonna know that these people are ones that will contact you, or you can contact them and they will communicate and we can set up meetings and so on and so forth. Because this is a committee, we have a committee of the whole currently. And I'd like to be able to tell Christopher, here's the date that we're gonna meet and we can all get on a call together and set and listen to him lay out the facts of sinking and operational millages.
I propose we get that done by March 2nd, please.
And typically, what happens is when there's committees made, the board president assigns that, but if you want to be on there, please let me know then by next Monday, March 2nd. Anything else? Number 8. You're up again. Michigan State School.
Winner, winner, I feel like I'm at the lotto. I am proud that the state of Michigan, from a budget perspective, has paid attention to the employees and the teachers, but not just the teachers. They allowed us to negotiate and support our staff. And so 27L, parenthesis 2, is a section of the Michigan State Aid Act that provides funding per pupil, one time only, by the way, non-recurring, to support compensation for educators, which is a broad term. Thank you to the BEA, our teachers union. Thank you to BAPA, our administrators union. And thank you to the United Steelworkers, who all supported in a letter of agreement, and I'll read it out to you because this is pretty cool. It is hereby agreed by and between the Bridgeport Spaulding Community School District, further known as District, and Bridgeport Education Association, United Steelworkers Association, and Bridgeport Administrators Professional Association, hereby known as Union, as follows. Whereas the Michigan Legislature has approved MCL 388.1627L, Educator Compensation Program, more commonly referred to as Section 27L. Whereas the district and union agree to the following definition of educator in accordance with Section 27L, parenthesis 2, end parenthesis, as anyone covered under a collective bargaining agreement with the district and central office personnel. Whereas the parties acknowledge that 27L subsection 2 of the Michigan State School Aid Act provides one-time state funding to districts for the sole purpose of increasing compensation for educators as broadly defined in the statute. The funding is allocated on a per-pupil, non-recurring nature and must be used to provide compensation that is in addition to compensation otherwise provided under collective bargaining agreements. Pursuant to Section 27L subsection 2 and following negotiations between the district and union, the parties agreed that the district shall provide a single one-time bonus payment of, drum roll please, $1,100 to full-time active employees who began employment or were already employed between September 2nd and 17th of 2025 and worked through December 19th of 2025. Or $550 to part-time active employees, or they began employment between September 2nd and 17th and worked through December 19th of 2025. The payment shall be made on March 13th, 2026. Employees hired after September 17th or those who ended their employment prior to December 19th, as well as temporary employees. That includes, but not limited to, coaches, long-term substitutes, contracted service providers, 1099 employees, etc., are not eligible for this payment. Employees who have not worked any days in the aforementioned time are not eligible. This one-time payment shall not be added to base wages, salary schedules, or any other ongoing compensation, and shall not create a precedent or obligation for future payments. All the rest of this is legal stuff. Are you guys good with this?
Yes.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. It is subject to MIPSers and all the applicable taxes, but thank you to the employees of Bridgeport Spaulding Community School District from the state of Michigan. You're getting a little kickback. So congratulations to you guys.
And 9, state partnership. Mark, still on.
I'm hitting on all cylinders. This is great. We are inching closer. We will have a partnership agreement. It will be a framework. It will not have a lot of substance to it right now. It will have my signature. It will have the state's signature. It will have folks' signatures, but we are pausing on the development and implementation of a plan, and we will push that out and develop that between now, and we will finish that plan in late April for an early May signing. So we're buying ourselves some time. Thank you to our friends at the Department of Education. The agreement with the state of Michigan does go into effect in September, but I will explain it like this. This is something that happened several months ago, and stepping back into the role means making sure we're doing everything right. And a plan that doesn't have everybody's input across the board is not a plan. It's just somebody telling somebody else what to do. And we get enough of that in our lives, so the state of Michigan is completely okay with us working out a very good plan for everybody in our school district. And that includes not just the children, but the families of the children and the community. And that is absolutely key. The plan itself is around the high school. We're all aware of that by this point in time, I think. If we're not, call me up, I'll tell you more about it. But as far as an update, between now and I would say after spring break, I'm not going to have a lot to be able to report to you at every board meeting about updates on the plan. The surveys to staff have gone out. Surveys to families and students will be going out in the next 2 weeks. And then that will be gathered and analyzed. We will not be putting anything budget-wise in advance of finalizing our plans, which won't take place until April, end of April, beginning of May. So I'll leave it at that for the state partnership update. Look forward to having more with the survey data coming back.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. Item number 10, MESB and Saginaw, Michigan Association of School Board and Saginaw County Association of School Boards. So everyone would have, on the board, would have received an email, more than one actually. You would have gotten an email from the Michigan Association of School Board stating that there is another institute coming up May 1st and 2nd, and Tammy, who's not present, well, Tammy was the first person to register for a full weekend of the MESB classes, so good for Tammy. I will definitely talk to her. She is doing some finance things, but what I wanted to talk about is she really only needs one class for one of the certifications. Each certification requires 5 specific classes. So I wanted to see if she was aware of that, if she wanted to finish that out, and for anyone here who's taking any other Michigan Association of School Board classes. We have discussed this about setting a goal for the classes, so that way you can complete the certifications that are offered between advocacy, community relations, data, finance, and then a senior one would be leadership, which the criteria for there is a little more extensive. But again, that's the Spring Institute from May 1st and 2nd. There are some online classes available as well, same classes that are offered at the Spring Institute as well. So if anyone's interested in that, In regards to Saginaw County Association of School Boards, on February 3rd, all of the board members should have received a save the date email for the year 2026. They're only going to hold 2 this year so far. One is scheduled for tomorrow, and that's at Millet Learning. The 5:15 starts registration, so I don't know whoever actually sent that RSVP to Janet Sesla, but you still could, even though it's closed. I know you still could. The next date is Wednesday, May 6th. That is at the ISD Unity Hall, and they will be providing the yearly awards. And Carmen Castillo, Brintoya Bremsey, Tammy Bieschke, and myself will all be honored at that May 6th for completing either a level 1 or a level 2, maybe even a higher level for the checklist there. If you want to look at your MASB, CBA classes in regard to being a board member. I know tomorrow there's a consulting firm that they said that's been almost 50 years, and they focus on evidence-based practices for student outcomes. So for anyone who's going tomorrow, feel free to bring back any other information to share with the board. Any questions on MASB or CASBA? Okay, item number 11. The February 9th business meeting minutes. I have, before making any type of motion, gotta have a motion that we're missing item number 292607. The first motion, if we can get that revised, it was moved to take action on the alleged board policy violations. I did not see that actual one there. The vote is correct, and the information is correct that we were going to combine the third-party investigator, which was the next item on the agenda that Bremsey was going to handle, but we actually took a vote to move to take action. So we can just get that one revised.
I'll talk to you after, because I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah. And then the other thing was the fact that item number 2926, item number 12, minutes are a record of actual actions that were taken. They're not a transcript. They're supposed to remain neutral. And according to Robert's rules, minutes must record what was done in real time, not what was said, and should not include personal opinions. Literally, it should be no subjective comments or details of a discussion. So on the record items to be added need to be voted on.
I would respectfully disagree. These were elements of board comments. They were not part of the agenda.
Board comments, again,
Are not covered as you suggest.
and historically, they're also not entered in there. Anything to be added must be voted on. So for an on-the-record board comment, on-the-record minutes, anything whatsoever needs to be voted on the board. So you can absolutely make a motion to add those on the record. In fact, I can do that. Does anyone have any objection to adding for the February 9th business meeting minutes what was given to you in your packet on the record of one board member's comments, their personal opinions? We would have to, basically, if there's an objection, we would have to take a vote. me bringing that out, I object to it. And so there needs to be a vote taken.
Respectfully, they are not matters of opinion. They were matters of statement of proof of what had transpired with this board and myself. I will not stand back and just, I mean, if you want to muzzle people at this board, then you're welcome to go ahead and continue to try. But quite frankly, I am personally tired of you trying to muzzle us and
And again,
allow
that's
us
your
to have our
personal
opinion.
opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and forward you an email.
I don't need your
Brad and
email. I've
Ashley.
already looked at it myself. Thank you very much.
Okay. Then you know exactly why this needs to be
You are
voted
welcome to
on.
attempt to muzzle other board members. Go ahead.
Yep, and you're supposed to let the record show why. So in regards to that one, it's supposed to be voted on. And I'll send this directly to all of the board members. So that way everyone can read it if you haven't yet. So the motion is to strike the personal opinions of one board member from the minutes on 2/9.
Your motion is mischaracterization as a matter of opinion. The statement that was made is a matter of fact.
It's, what you wrote on there was on the record. You wanted it listed on there for the record.
That is correct. That is not a matter of...
Anything in regards for the record has to be voted on.
I said I object to your characterization as an opinion. It is a statement of fact. If you wish to strike the matter of fact, that is what you need to say.
So we're going to strike item 12, anything in regards to the board comments that are listed there currently that were given to you in your board packet.
So you're going to unilaterally
My
make a
motion.
motion and then take a vote without a second?
No, that is my motion.
Okay.
So a motion has been made to strike any of the board comments as listed as given for your 2/9/26, item number 12, that was given in the board packet.
Did you just make a motion to add it and then object?
No. I was saying first, is there any objection? Then I said yes.
You said, I'll make a motion to add it, and then you said, is there any objection? And then you objected.
So,
You
again,
made a motion to add it, and then you objected to your own motion.
not to add it, the motion is to strike it.
You said add.
Well, then I misspoke. The motion is to strike item number 12.
So are you objecting to striking it? Because you made a motion to add it, and then you object.
No matter what was done, the motion on the table is to strike everything listed under the board comments that was given to you in the board packet. Is there a second to my motion?
Lucy Irby, I object. I mean, I second, I'm sorry. I second.
Can you remake your motion so that I know
Yep.
exactly what we're talking about? Because I'm,
Motion is to remove what you have listed. I don't know if you have access to it right now.
my,
Shouldn't you read what you're striking? Just read it.
Yeah, where do you want to take it off?
Remember, the minutes are a record of actual actions that had been taken. It's not a transcript.
All of it.
All of the...
All of 12?
Comments.
Just for Robin, I'm trying to also understand this as well, Amy. Are you saying your motion is to you said what you have listed. Are you saying, I just want Robin to be clear, because she's the one doing all of this. And that she's trying to do it correctly. And I'm hearing a lot of, like, I don't even know what the motion exactly is. Can we lay that out specifically for Robin? I'd like to actually know. So all I have is motion to remove what you have listed. I had a bunch of other stuff, but I don't know what's correct.
Just read it.
You done?
This is so easy. Read it.
Now, this is the first of this being added. As this, why did you add this time?
Because I was requested to add it by a board member. So I didn't just add it on my own, I was requested to add it. So I feel like I'm middle.
No, yeah.
I don't think this is the first time.
So item number listed as 2/9/2026-12. The board comments. All the way through 13. That is the motion, to have that removed. Any other questions, discussion? Yep, go ahead.
What do you mean, an email from Brad?
The one that she
I forwarded the same thing you said you read.
Oh, once you.
I was referencing Robert's rules, but go ahead.
Okay, this states,
She's gonna read the email.
Well, what did you ask him?
the Open Meetings Act, OMA, requires school boards to keep minutes for every meeting showing the date, time, place, members present or absent, any decisions and the purposes for which a closed session is held. Noticeably absent from the list of requirements is discussion. So a school board is not legally mandated to include meeting comments in minutes. Additionally, Robert's Rules of Order emphasizes that, in parentheses, the minutes should contain mainly a record of what was done at the meeting, not what was said by the members. The minutes must never reflect the secretary's opinion, favorably or otherwise, on any said or done, anything said or done. End of quotes. A school board may decide to go beyond OMA's requirements and disregard the guidance of Robert's Rules of Order by including members' discussion in meeting minutes. In some cases, a board may adopt a bylaw that provides that remarks of board members may be included in minutes, or a board may decide to establish parameters for the contents of meeting minutes at its annual organizational meeting. A board member cannot individually determine what is included in a meeting minutes unless a bylaw specifically provides board members with that type of authority. In the absence of such a bylaw, a school board has a couple of options for handling a matter to include specific, I always get that messed up, content in a minute. The best practice on this issue involves the president recognizing the request and then presenting the following question to the board. Is there any objections to including the comments of trustee Doe in the minutes, which would include the reasons why trustee Doe voted no? If there is no objections, then that signals to the recording secretary to include the board members' comments in the minutes by the consent of the board. If, however, any objections are raised by one or more board members, then the board will formally vote on the issue. Alternatively, a school board may choose to defer to the recording secretary and its bylaws and not consider the members' demand during the meeting. Then it would be up to the recording secretary to decide in accordance with the board's bylaws. Rather, the proposed minutes will be included in the comments. Under this option, if the proposed minutes only include the vote, and this is, they
That's
gave
for specific, yeah.
an actual concern that they were discussing, and this was the answer to that.
So what you said is if they were not to be included, the objection should have been raised during the last meeting. And additionally, these are not part of the meeting minutes. They are in fact part of board comments, which I asked for them to be recorded. I was very strategic not to make these comments as a part of the minutes, but as a comment.
Well, it says that.
It says the comment.
Board comments cannot be included.
But you didn't object at the last meeting either. And that would have been the appropriate time for you to object.
We can make a motion at any meeting for any time. You've
I
all done
disagree,
that.
but
So that's what's on the table. Any other discussion?
that's fine.
So if we vote to strike this from the February 9th meetings, is it going to be in the February 23rd meetings of what we struck from the February 9th meeting?
It should be recorded as such because this motion's been taken.
It's still going to be in
It
this.
would be a vote.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be listed out completely. It would just be that the motion was made and the vote was made, just as it normally is. The motion and then the vote, the ayes, the nays, and if a motion passed or not.
Say what we're deleting.
So,
$3.6 million.
Is there?
historically, we have never done this before. Historically, we have not been on there.
You mean it's not been done in your tenure on this board?
So the update,
Historically.
Well, you've got a motion and you've got a support, so I suppose you ought to take a vote.
so we can go ahead and take a vote that if this is being removed,
I don't understand what the difference is, whether it's in there or not. Doesn't matter to me if it's in there or not.
Understand?
Something that we're all now aware of.
what do you think?
Now becoming aware of this, that, is this something moving forward that we won't do unless we include it in the bylaws?
Yeah, if they're in the absence of bylaws, then we have that option. So we would have to discuss, if you want to add it to policy or add that in there, we would have to actually vote on that one separately as
But
well.
as far as individually, when he requested that be added, no one objected to that. There was no concern at that time. But now, since we are aware of that, we can move forward.
We have a great production class now, and we have equipment that is phenomenal. It's television quality. And what I'm hearing from my board is transparency. This is a conversation about transparency. If it's not about transparency, I'm not sure what it is about then, because you could set that up. Mr. Aldrich is right here. They have cameras, they have all of this, and they probably would love a project like this. And you could video the meetings, and the individual or individuals that feel like their information should be recorded, it becomes a moot point. It doesn't, it's not written in the minutes, but people, if you wanna, if Brentoya, like you really are fired up and passionate about something, the public gets a chance to understand that. I feel for Robin. She's in the middle of all of this, and I see what she goes through, and it's 2026. We don't need to have, and no offense, but we don't need to have a member of the public here bringing their own video camera. We can do that. We can put it out. We have the capability, literally, to live stream this, to be honest. It costs us zero money to do it. We have all of the equipment. And then these debates, this kind of debate it doesn't put Robin in a position where she has to watch video, listen to meetings, and try to get all of it. You can do what you do, which is make motions and vote on things. And your discussion, this discussion, is available for people to understand where the board was at or where everyone was at. This is incredibly important, and I think it should not be lost on anyone that we're about to engage in conversations around millages. Our public should know the thought process and what we're thinking and what we might be planning. And that's not going to show up in meeting minutes. And that is worrisome, not just to me. I'm a taxpayer, and I'm concerned about where my dollars go statewide. I would appreciate it if people were more transparent as well. We have $3.6 million in the very near future riding on our constituents in our community that they're gonna need to know more than what's the motion was and what's not. And I know this because people right here have asked for this information, have showed up religiously, thank you, to get this information out to the public. You can use our own equipment, make all of this available, and Robin doesn't have to try to figure out how to put it in here, and you as a school board don't have to try to figure out how to say it and not say it. You just put your motions in and put your votes and let the video speak for itself. Your discussion gets captured in that. That's my suggestion. We've got a great set of teachers and excellent kids that would be more than happy, I'm sure. Am I wrong?
So this
More than
motion-
happy.
Well, I'd like to say something before you choose to vote, because quite frankly, there seems to be a real dual standard, because if my memory is correct, on October 27th, I believe it was, I brought forward the fact that the minutes did not reflect reality and were not succinct, and in fact were a matter of opinion when somebody said that staff rushed this table, and then they said that a official roll call vote was taken, which it was not. And that, when I raised an objection, was not allowed, and the minutes stood as written. So you have two standards here, ma'am. You have a standard where you have altered the minutes behind the scenes by the person who recorded them, and now you're having a standard that is different because I'm trying to record, in fact, an informational piece that was shared with this board in advance of the meeting and was not shared with the public. Now, you've got two standards, so go ahead and take your vote, because quite frankly, I'm really tired of the dual standard here.
That's fine. There's double.
No, it isn't
standards on
fine,
your end
ma'am.
as well, double standards all around. A board member cannot individually determine what is included in the meeting minutes.
You are absolutely right, and you are the one who altered the meeting
You're
minutes on the
supposed to
27th.
Remember your board policy about being,
Ma'am,
all of those, but we're going to take the board vote now.
ma'am, would you please?
We're going to strike it completely from 12 to 13. So I'm going to call the vote now.
Yeah, no more discussion.
I just want to know what his double standard is. Can you explain it?
I'm simply illustrating a point, ma'am, that you have two standards. One for you where you alter the meeting minutes behind the scenes, and another one where I come out and I put them in, and I specifically ask for action, and now you're striking it from the record because you are no more than any other board member, right? You have no.
Exactly, I'm only one vote.
Yes.
Only one vote.
But you are.
That's all I am.
Never mind.
Right back at you. Same way you feel is how I feel. So we're going to take that vote, and if we will strike that, again, you read it. Brentoya read that.
What are we
So from 12 to 13, the motion is yes to remove or no to not. Sorry for the confusion, Robin.
Mrs. Bream, Robin? Mrs. Breamsey?
No.
Ms. Irby?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
No.
Ms. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Sawatsky?
No.
We have 3 votes. 2 votes yes and 3 votes no, opposed.
The motion did not pass. We do have to make that adjustment in regards to the vote that was taken, that we are going to take action on the formal complaint.
Can you repeat what you just said, please?
So number 7 in the meeting minutes did not state that we took, there was a motion to take action on the alleged complaints that were given that night.
I would recommend rolling back the YouTube tape and watching. Just for everyone's sake on the board.
Number 7. Well, we would not have been able to move forward if a motion to take action had not taken place. We would not have even discussed it.
The motion was to move forward to appoint a third-party investigator to investigate formal complaints of alleged board policy violations. What more clear language do you need than that?
The motion was to actually take action and combine the third-party investigator.
The motion was to take action, and that's what the motion should have been.
We took action and voted on
The third.
moving on that alleged complaint that was presented that night.
Yeah. It says action, then, under the action that you made the motion.
Separately from combining the two.
That wasn't 8, the combining of the 2?
8 was.
So 7.
7 shows that we did it.
With the complaint that
Right.
that came at the last meeting. We moved forward with that, then we,
So it's your contention that we would appoint an investigator without taking action? Why would we do such
I'm
a...
saying that we wouldn't, correct. So everyone then is in agreement that the action that was taken was to move forward on that,
Right.
correct?
Move forward on
That's
an
what it
action.
states.
That we actually were going to take action on the alleged complaints.
Yes. That was my understanding.
That was your understanding? Okay. You weren't here, let's see. Yeah, you weren't here. Okay.
I second.
So recommended action is move to approve the minutes from the Monday, February 9th business meeting as presented in your board meeting. Can we get a motion?
To approve this as it is.
There's a recommended action, move to approve the minutes from the Monday, February 9th meeting as presented in your board packet.
So moved.
Can we get a second?
Support.
Was that you, Aaron?
Yeah.
Mrs. Breemsey,
Yes.
Ms. Irby,
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Ms. Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Swatsky.
Yes.
5 yes votes, 0 votes opposed.
Number 12, superintendent comments.
I win the lottery again. When you guys go to that meeting tomorrow at the ISD, you're going to hear from a group called ECRA, and that's the group I would highly recommend thinking about suggesting an investment with a company such as ECRA on behalf of our staff and our students and the community to disaggregate the data in ways that are supportive and go beyond just proficiency. And I would hope after you hear from them, that would be a company and a data management system that you can trust. So please, if you're going, I don't know who's going, but whoever's going, that company would be one I would recommend. I have recommended. Our student count as of Friday, on Friday, remembering that this is Fridays, was 1,383 students. Athletic update, middle school, competitive cheer, sideline cheer, middle school cheerleaders have been participating in several competitive cheer jamborees. If you've never been to one, you ought to go because it is a wild time. They are crazy, and they continue to cheer at home basketball games. They're some of the most fun kids to watch, I gotta be honest. It's literally, I mean, basketball's great, but the entertainment of these young ladies is fantastic. I just get a kick out of it. Boys middle school basketball, we had 2 teams, A and B, for both 7th and 8th grade, and that is a huge accomplishment. We've had struggles with participation since COVID, and we had a huge number of kids come out this year. That was excellent. High school sports, competitive cheer. Again, wrapped up their season at the Lake Fenton District Competition. We earned the highest score yet since 2022, when we kicked this off again with competitive cheer at the Davison meet this year. Fantastic showing. These are young ladies that have a unique spirit about them, and cheer competition brings out some really awesome energy. So I am proud because we didn't have it when I got here, and now we do, and it gives our young ladies and our cheerleading group a place to show out competitively. Wrestling, first team. Let's say this real careful. Chanel Carruthers, first female in Bridgeport history to place first place at the Tri-Valley Conference Tournament. That's huge. I'm a wrestling guy. Girls in wrestling, this is a ticket to phenomenal success. And those of you watching at home or wherever you'll be watching someday on YouTube and all the other channels, this is where you will see a phenomenal opportunity for young ladies to really take off athletically, and that is in female girls wrestling. And it won't be but a couple of years and we will have a completely girls sport. Won't be intermingled with girls and boys, so then hold on to your hats there. Honorable mention, Jesus Castillo, Kiara Richardson, both of them did well at Tri-Valley and represented our school well and our district. Our wrestlers are great kids, great fighters, and never give up. That is one of the things that makes me most proud about our Bearcats. We just don't give up. Our girls JV basketball team completed their season, and we didn't have to combine them with varsity. Yeah, exactly. How cool is that? Like, we had JV and varsity all year. That speaks volumes to the participation. Our varsity girls were 8 and 12 and have one last game on Thursday against Freeland, and then they enter the districts and we play at Carlton versus Birch Run. So that happens here later this week. Boys basketball, we were able to field freshman JV varsity the whole year. Regular season ended on Friday with a buzzer beater. Thomas McKinley dropped one against John Glenn, providing us with a win. The team finished 11-11. It's good to go into the tournament on an emotional hot streak. And we doubled our win total from 2 years ago, so we are making great strides. We are the number 2 seed in our district. We got a bye, so we're not playing tonight, but we play Wednesday night. And we play at Garber against either Swan Valley. Ba-bum. I see that Swan Valley look over there. Oh, that says Sioux, sorry. I don't have my long-range glasses on. So we will either play Swan Valley or Garber Wednesday at 7 p.m. Tickets are online, by the way. Can't get them in person anymore. Pom Pom continues to perform at our athletic events and is an important part, and I look forward to Pom Pom becoming a full-fledged sport real soon, right, Mr. Rodriguez? When we talk about sports and sportsmanship and how we represent our school and our district, I think it's important for us as adults to recognize that our kids do great things. They don't always get recognized for it. We can find negative in a lot of things, but I want to read something to you because it isn't just our kids. This is a report filed about Coach Saunders with the MHSAA. From Steve Menzer, who was a referee and an official the other night. He sent this to Gabe as well. Good morning, Gabe. First, I wanted to thank you on behalf of my crew last night for your hospitality at Bridgeport High School. Second to none, my friend. We are excellent at that. It was my first time officiating there, and I hope it won't be my last. I have the utmost respect for you and your coach, Alton Sanders. Below is a praise report I filed with MHSAA this morning. I felt it was warranted and well-deserved. Praise and sportsmanship report for Alton Sanders, Bridgeport head varsity boys coach. This is what Steve wrote. Wanted to say that I thoroughly enjoyed working at Bridgeport High School last night for their varsity basketball game versus Bay City John Glenn. It was a packed, energetic gym, and the actions of Coach Saunders was worthy of recognition. He coached his kids with passion and respectfulness towards them and us as an officiating crew. It was a pleasure to work this game. He asked questions in appropriate times and tones. His kids played hard and ended up winning a hard-fought back-and-forth game. You remember the buzzer beater, right? Throughout the year, as I worked many games, tonight, Coach Saunders was a true role model for coaches. His professionalism and passion showed on the biggest stage tonight. Kudos to him and his staff, and continued good luck into the postseason. Thank you, referee Steve Menzer. So I want to say massive shout out to Coach Saunders, and equally to our players and our fans and everybody participating in this organization, providing phenomenal role models for our kids to grow and learn from. So thank you to Coach Saunders, and congratulations to him. I look forward to seeing that come back from MHSAA. And that wraps my, short as to be superintendent comment.
Where's the game?
At Garber. At Garber. It's I'm sorry, it's not Thursday, it's Wednesday. Wednesday at Garber at 7 p.m.
That's the boys.
Boys basketball. Girls play Freeland on Thursday, but that's not the tournament yet. That's their last game.
Nice. Board comment, Bob.
I'm good.
Aaron.
I just have a question for Mark. If we invited the production team to come in here and video our meetings, does that replace the written minutes, or can it? Or we still have to have written minutes?
No, that would not replace the written minutes. It would give you reference for your discussion. That's my suggestion, is our conversation right now, everybody can hear. That's here or online.
It would give Robin something to look
would.
at to make sure minutes were correct.
It does, and you're staying with your minutes, your conversation, Lucy's conversation, everybody's is valued, and it's captured for the community.
Would the students get any kind of credit for that?
Major credit.
Oh, I mean like...
Probably super props.
Yeah, okay.
I might be able to even get them over at the Spirit game. I got a couple connections. They're pretty cool.
Nothing else?
Okay. That's all I have.
Brian Toya. Lucy, any comment? Comments?
No comments.
No comments?
I just,
All right. So I'm just going to say, just last passage, that when it comes to the diversity, we should definitely keep diversity. We want difference so that no one's complacent. We want to find new and creative solutions rather than just iterating. And we are adjourned.